Hey guys, I'm CLINTFLAIRWOOO, welcome back to another Division 2 video, and if I sound a little bit gruffly, that's because man flu has struck, and yes, we all know man flu is absolutely toxic, and it's not something I recommend to any man, because you will struggle, trust me. Now guys, moving on, Title Update 6 is scheduled, predicted, estimated, wherever you may say, 15th of October, that's what we're looking at, that's the rough time we're looking at, so that's in about a week and a half away. So in that time, what I'm doing, I'm playing a little bit of Breakpoint. I'm thoroughly enjoying that. I'm also going back to Division 2 to get the apparel keys that are dropping less frequently, may I add, than they should be. And also just making sure that I have the right gear, the right crafting materials, i.e. electronics, titanium, ceramics, all that kind of stuff. So going to Title Update 6, I can have a play and have a tweak straight from the off. Now, there's a few things I'm really looking forward to in Title Update 6. That's going to give me life quality improvements, and that's exactly what the game needs. Now, Title Update 5 was a refreshing change to the game because it made skills more than viable. It made them go-to in PvE and made them half decent in PvP, in all fairness. But still, the 3.11.7 build was so far ahead of anything else in the game. So balance is coming to Title Update 6, and that's what this game needs more than anything, because it would drive people back to PvP, because at the minute it is a shit show. Again, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I'd like to have this discussion regarding PvP. Now, a few things I'm looking forward to, which I'll slap on the screen very shortly. I'm looking forward to a new UI interface. With Episode 2, also known as Title Update 6, we are introducing new ways to navigate your inventories alongside interface updates to create a smoother experience for everyone. We want to not only improve gear management and loadout options, but also strengthen your relationship as the player to core statistics in the UI. And in all honesty, this is looking a little bit nifty, it's looking a bit smarter, and it gives it a little bit of sheen and polish, and that's what it needed, because I found it very clunky, everything looked very similar, and it just looked like a lot of mess. So having this simpler, cleaner UI is definitely needed. It gives it more of a crisp look. The one thing in Division 1 that I really champed and something I wanted to see more of was loadouts, and in Division 2 it started again with 6 loadouts. Again, this was highly frustrating for me. Again, you'd unlock these by unlocking perks. Now, because of the sheer build diversity from the off, 6 loadouts was simply nowhere near what the game needed. The intention for me was to get it to 10 to 12. That's what I would have loved from the off. And Massive, yes, they have listened. They have implemented a system where there will be 12 loadouts available. And this is coming from me, that I produce builds. That's what I do for the game and for the community. So having 12 options gives it me much more viability and much more a simpler UI that will only help me and others switch on the fly their builds. And I think that's something, again, it is just a necessity in any game that is build driven to have many loadout options. Dye and skins menu. These are located in the apparel inventory. The dye and skins menu list all owned weapon skins and gear dyes for easy applications. Choose the desired gear dye or weapon skin to apply to all pieces of gear or equipped weapons straight from the menu. Again, nice little touch. I've never been that fussed with the gear and weapon dyes, in all honesty. But again, I might do more so now, because there's a little menu for it, and it does look quite nice in all fairness. And on the PTS, have you used this? What does it look like? Is it, again, much more easy to use or user friendly than before? Again, something that I weren't really bothered about in hindsight, but this could be quite decent addition. Now, this is something I have been calling for a long time. When I speak to friends regarding the Division 2 and weapon damage, what I wanted to see was base damage. When I say that, is knowing exactly what your damage is on your weapon and how it fluctuates. So what is the maximum damage you can get for this drop and the minimum damage you can get on this weapon, so you know where this weapon sits. So what they have said is episode 2 is bringing more information to the interface regarding weapon damage, specifically base damage. Going forward, all weapons will display their roll damage and how this value compares to the base damage of the weapon. Now, for me, we were working blind in terms of farming for gear and weapons that have a stat roll on there. It will have a damage roll, and again will be affected by your gear, your talents, etc. But you still were not to know what is the base damage for said weapon. So you were just given a damage roll. And again, it's hard because these damage rolls, they fluctuate. They can be quite high, they can be quite low. And again, it was more of a guesstimate than anything else. And it's something that the devs complete oversight. And I'm glad, I'm hoping this is input from the ETF that will be implemented in Teletubbies 6. So this is a very, very sexy addition to the game. Something, again, for something like me, I like stats, this is a good addition. I'm happy with this. Now the mod Inventory Redesign. Now we received a ton of feedback regarding the mod inventory. It's just a mess. And we redesigned the interface for more efficient navigation. When opening the mod inventory in episode 2, you will see your mods divided into 3 categories: offensive, defensive, and utility. There will be a 4th category, which is generic, and if you still have any mods left in your inventory, on top of this, there's a toggleable grid view option for listing these mods in your inventories. Again, I like this. It's a very, very good tweak to the mod system because, in all fairness, it was just a clunky mess. It really was, and I wasn't really a fan of the mod system. So I like this nice change in terms of mods. Named item visuals. Yes, named items are coming to Division 2, and we want to ensure you recognise these items and talents in your inventories. Going forward, all named items and talents will be marked with a chevron, watermark, and written in high-end text colour. And we know that named items will have a slightly higher percentage roll of stat. For example, Perfect Spotter will be 5% more, Unbreakable 5% more, etc, etc. That's what they're looking at, again, as an example. Now, finding these weapons are going to be, and again, they'll be easily distinguishable, and that's what the game needs. I don't like the look of just plentiful of gear, having an abundance, an array of gear that looks very similar. So having these in the game is only a positive. Mark as options. Now, they introduced new options to the item flags inventory system. So you mark for donation and mark for recalibration. The first marks items for project donations, while the latter marks them for recalibration fodder. With these new options, you can more easily mark items to suit your needs. Marker's favourite is still available as well. Again, nice little touch. I don't use it as often as maybe I should, and quite lazy, but this is a nice touch for people that will have a lot of gear they want to manually maybe deconstruct or recalibrate once. Now, a couple of decent additions, and I do like these in all fairness. Again, some people may not be bothered, but I like this, is the player overview panel. Now with that, the player overview panel now gives more information up front in one consolidated space. You have your equipped weapon damage and RPM, in addition to skill power for each equipped skill. When browsing through the inventory, comparison values are shown as well, and that's good. That's a nice thing to have in the game. You'll also get a stats page breakdown, and as a detailed breakdown page is available in episode 2 for every attribute, statistic, and talent on the player statistics sheet. On this page, anything contributing to the highlighted statistic is listed directly. Again, it's just more information, and that's what I'll crave in this game, is more info. There will be an all gear slot, and that will be located where you previously found contaminated items in the DZ. A new gear slot lists all gear pieces in one place to help you manage your loot. In the options menu, the inventory options have been redesigned to a grid menu, making navigations more efficient. These are little changes that I feel that, again, the quality of life improvements that are needed in the game, because currently it's a little bit stale, it's a little bit off, and in some aspects, they are overcomplicated for many of the player base. So have these tweaks to be a little more crisper. A cleaner UI will only improve your user experience, and I think that's a good thing for the game, as well as the balancing of PvP and somewhat PvE. So I feel that Title Update 6 is onto a winner. I'm confident, really confident after hearing the PTS guys' opinion on Title Update 6. And again, they have all come out with very positive statistics in terms of this can only improve the current shape the game is in. You know, don't get me wrong, the game is not in a really bad place. It's not awful. However, there is a lack of balance, and balance to any game which is live service needs to be top of your priorities. And yes, Title Update 6 will give us a lot more balance. Title Update 5 gave us the skill boost, and Title Update 6 will give that weapon and gear balance that will make, I feel, PvP more viable, and will get my ass into the DZ and produce some DZ footage for you guys, because that's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but the balance has been so skewed. The meta is so far ahead of anything else, so using any other build or any other weapon makes this highly disadvantageous. And that's the issue for me, is you're at a huge disadvantage if you are not using the meta build or meta weapons. And that's something that needed to change, and given the changes that are implemented in Title Update 6, it's only good for the game, it's good for the player base, and I feel it get people back in the game, back grinding, looking for new gear, new weapons, new exotic, new talents. The grind begins again, hopefully 15th of October. So yes, at the minute, the next week and a half, there's not a hell of a lot to do unless you're grinding the apparel event. However, come the new update, I feel the player base will start to rapidly grow because of these changes that will bring the balance the game craves. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please drop a like, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.